Let's return to Talk of the Town with your host, Ed Verskure, on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.
And welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Monday, August the 19th. Sitting in for Ed, I'm Gary Stevens. We'll have open line after the 11 o'clock news block, but we are guest specific for the next 20 minutes or so. And that guest in this third Monday of the month is State Senator Roger Victory, first-term Republican state senator from Hudsonville, who represents Ottawa County in the state Senate. Roger, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning, Gary. Another beautiful summer morning out. I can't imagine some of those students that are starting school today. It would be hard for me to get back into class, I think.
Understandable, especially when we were students and schools were not air conditioned. The windows were definitely open.
And a number of them are not. So, yep.
But before we talk about some of the serious things, and you have a chance to chat with Roger at 395-1450, we are talking on the 19th of August. And that means on the third week of August, it is the Hudsonville Community Fair.
Yes. You got it. We did that in unison. That brings back a lot of memories. That's hometown for me. Back in that's kind of even highlighting with the earlier school starts. It has some play with the Hudsonville Fair. I remember my 4-H projects there. When I was 12 years of age, I started showing a 4-H project there, and did that until I graduated out of high school. And it was a lot of great learning experience. And looking forward there, these projects, the pigs, the sheep, the dairy, the horse, equine. This is part of our learning fabric here in Ottawa County. We're blessed with 3 fairs in Ottawa County: the Berlin Fair, the Holland Fair, and Ottawa County Fair, and then also the Hudsonville Fair. So with each of those fairs also offers a great venue for our young people, either in the FFA programs or the 4-H programs, to learn those valuable life skills and demonstrate that through their projects that they do. So if you get a chance, come out to the Hudsonville Fair. It's the last one here in Ottawa County, and they do a great job. The volunteers there at Hudsonville Fair Board, a lot of volunteer hours that they put this on for benefit of the community, the benefit of our young people, and that's something I chair the Agricultural Committee in Lansing, and that's always to the forefront too. We usually try to have some of the participants of the young folks, either 4-H program members or FFA members, testify in our committee, and they do a fantastic job, even a lot of times better than the lobbyists do, articulating their concerns, how valuable our fairs are to the state of Michigan.
These are 3 fairs that have deep roots in the community, and I've brought up the point that, Allegan's got 1 big fair.
Yep.
And Ottawa's got 3. That's sort of, it's nice. They have roots. But it sort of diffuses it a little bit more. We don't have the big fair in Ottawa as we do, they down in Allegan. And maybe something centrally located, 1 fair might be better. But then again, how can you go against history and tradition?
And 3 times the opportunity fund. So, yeah. And also allows, those affairs to be located closer to the communities, and it helps out those young people, too. They don't have to travel quite so far for when they have to show their animals. So each has, deep-rooted history in our community here, and they do a tremendous job. So, yeah, get out and enjoy the, last fling of summer, and that's the Hudsonville Fair, and they do a great number of different programs there, and I don't have the whole listing of the events on top of my head here, but I know I hope to be there tonight a little bit for a period of time.
Should be lots of fun.
Of course, certainly will be.
I have mentioned and sort of gotten daggers don't look for me from other portions of this area about the fact that if we have 1 fair, put it in Hudsonville, it's centrally located. But
we got the Ottawa County Fair folks do a great job.
Yeah, I know.
I had an opportunity to be at the Ottawa County Fair too, and the great board there of volunteers
and the people over in Marne. They're there.
Yes,
okay. But let's move on before I dig myself deeper into a hole here. Let's talk a little bit some serious stuff, and I will play for you a comment by State Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey. He appeared on our sister station, WTVB, in Coldwater. Ken Delaney of Delaney in the Morning, good man, had a chance to chat with Senator Shirkey about the budget, about roads and trying to get a budget done by September 30th.
My governor and the speaker and I met last week. We went over some high-level things in the budget that were generally acceptable to all the parties. We went through a couple of scenarios on how we would fund additional road money. I'm not going to get into too many details with you, only because we gave each other our word that we would go back to our caucuses and test them before we make any commitments publicly.
I won't tell anybody.
But I will tell you this: it's not going to be 45 cents a gallon, and it's not going to be $2.5 billion. And we are going to reprioritize our current spending so that we're going to take some money that we've been spending historically and apply it to roads. And so I think I'm going to stick my neck out here. Within 2 weeks, you and I are going to be able to have a very detailed conversation on this, and I think we'll prove to people that we first reprioritize spending, second, we evaluated our cash flows and directed as much as that as we could to roads, and then only in the third case, if those two didn't create enough money, are we contemplating increases in fees? And we are, but they're very, very modest compared to what is then being promoted.
Well, Roger, I'm going to throw it right on your right on your lap. You heard from the state Senate Majority Leader. Pretty much what you're hearing as you guys go back to work for a little session tomorrow.
Yep, we will be going tomorrow in Lansing, and actually been on the forefront of a lot of the road issues, and had good, frank conversation with our Senate Majority Leader, Mike Shirkey. And I've been encouraging our Senate colleagues looking at what has worked and why there's, you look at the road conditions in the state of Michigan, there's a couple of different sets of roads. We have the interstate system, or the M roads. Those are the US 31, M6. You have the Interstate 196. Those components. Then you also have what I call the local roads. And if you look at the local roads, why are some of the local roads in a whole lot better shape in certain parts of the state than other area? I look at Allegan County. They do a tremendous job with their local roads. Now you're going to find a road here or there but it's nothing like you're going to see in Macomb County or you see in the city of Lansing. And some of the reasons why that is actually some of our local counties have stepped up to the plate and have kind of instituted a local funding mechanism. So could that be emulated throughout the state? Could there be a catalyst behind that, to some incentive to step up at the local level? Ottawa County, we have a millage for our local roads, which generates $5 million per year. Well, if you take that over a 10-year period of time, that's $50 million that goes into making sure our local roads are maintained and preserved that other counties are not participating in. Well, that's a game changer. So and through some of the research I have done, only 1/3 of the counties roughly have a program like we have here in Ottawa County and in Allegan. So that's been a part of the conversation too. And with that there, if you're going to incentivize that, where would those dollars come from? So it's been a kind of a complex discussion, but hopefully we will continue to push that best practices, and that I call the best practices of that local component. And we're going to be having some more discussion on that issue.
If you got a question for State Senator Roger Victory of Hudsonville, he'll take it, 395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with State Senator Victory.
Good morning. I have a question, too, about the allocation of money for roads. I live in a subdivision, and I look out at the roads, and I think 2 years ago they put sealer on the cracks. Mm-hmm. There's no potholes or anything, and yet we suffered through Beeline and I'm trying to think the other road, or Riley's in terrible shape. It seems like the allocation just isn't. I mean, why are we? They're going to redo the subdivision road. Why are they doing that? I would rather have Riley done or James if it's needed.
Well, the caller brings in a great question, and this is dealing kind of going to our local component, along with the those roads that he's highlighting are more of the thoroughfare under the county road commission thoroughfare roads within our county, of which we're catching up some of those with that new millage aspect. They're starting to you cannot snap your fingers and have it done all instantaneously. They are moving the needle on it. Now, fortunately, we have townships and also in our area that dedicate township dollars for it. And there's certain ones, I won't mention which ones are not, but I'll just mention Georgetown, for example. They put over $1 million of township dollars into their township roads. And if you drive around Georgetown, they have a pretty good, solid network of township roads of a very robust paving. Also, Holland Township does a very a little more robust process of it, and they have a tax base for it, and they elect to do that, and then they contract through the through the Ottawa County Road Commission, and so there's other townships that can vary from one to the other. So yeah, I've talked to constituents. Their local road right in front of their house is great. Now you go to Macomb County, you'll hear the opposite. The road in front of my house is in such horrible condition, yet I go on the state highway, I see all the orange barrels. What can we do to make a difference? Well, I'll highlight Macomb County doesn't have a local assessment.
All right, anything else?
No, but I wish it was the other way around, that we would pick
yep.
Pick the roads with the greatest
need, yeah.
Traffic and fix those, and then we certainly don't need to have the road done in the subdivision here. So
well, I will say we got to consider ourselves very fortunate that we have some very astute local governments in our area that has held the purse strings pretty close to the vest on it. That they have money available to fund our local roads to the point that they're in pretty darn good condition compared to other parts of the state. So I hear you, and sometimes we question it, but I look at that as kind of a good problem that versus what we have in other parts of the state. It's not a good problem. Thank you. Appreciate your good call.
Thank you very much for the call. Good morning. You're up next on the WHTC Talk at the Town program with State Senator Roger Victory.
Hi, Gary. Hi, Roger. Hey, Roger, here's a question for you.
Okay.
Our new state attorney general seems to be getting involved in a lot of lawsuits that aren't necessarily in the best interest of the people of Michigan. A lot of frivolous and partisan things that are just kind of not within the purview, I would say.
We can say a little bit outside the normal swing of the pendulum. I would put it that way. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
what can you as a state senator do about this, and where can we, the civilians of Michigan, go to see some of these lawsuits that our money is going towards?
Well, one area we do discuss this, and my concern is on appropriations. How are we funding that department? That department has to have appropriations, and are they doing the work of the people of the state of Michigan, or is it agenda-driven basis? So with that there, we control the purse strings, and we need to be held accountable, and we have been having those conversations. You can discuss these things from some of the environmental concerns, how far they're pushing it. How about the Line 5 situation? My viewpoint, when we can solve the Line 5 by putting it into the bedrock, taking the risk away, and yet with the Attorney General's lawsuit, it postpones the construction of that new safe gateway of transporting that material. And in the long run, if you want concern about the environment, let's get moving quicker the better of getting that Line 5 put into the bedrock so it's no longer a risk. And then you can look at some of these other issues that the Attorney General has been focusing on that is not, I don't believe, emulate some of the values that I share, and that's where ultimately we control the purse strings. And with that there, we have to make sure that she's on task.
Now, the question is where you can get the information as to what lawsuits that the Attorney General Nessel is involved with?
Right.
Okay. Off the top of my head, and correct me if I'm wrong, Roger, michigan.gov/AG.
There you go. And it should be on their dashboard there. If not, feel free to contact my office at 517-373-6920, and we could help facilitate that too forward. So check out their website at the AG office. If there's still some more due diligence you want to dig into, feel free to call my office again at 517-373-6920, and if we could be of help, it would be my pleasure.
Great, thanks.
Thanks a lot for the call. All right, we got to finish up our conversation with State Senator Roger Victory. We talked a little bit about roads. We've talked a little bit about agriculture, and we've had some conversations about that. And you've been on the agriculture joint committee meeting last week about that and the concerns about the weather and how. And you've talked about this before with us, what the state could do to help farmers and doing it right now.
Yeah, that's right. I appreciate, we were able to hold a joint committee. Great attendance there. We covered a whole host of issues. It was well covered throughout the media, throughout the state of Michigan, highlighting concerns of the producers here in the state of Michigan, anywhere from the weather issues to trade issues to even things with dealing with mental health issues and suicide rates, the high that's associating to our rural communities and our farmers. So, and where we can start improving those things. And so, we have a whole list of notes and been working with a new director, Gary McDowell, on those issues, MSU Extension, and all the other stakeholders.
All right, let me throw you this last curveball, Roger Victory. We're about 6 weeks away from the end of the fiscal year. Do you see eventually an agreement, if not by September 30th, maybe continuance until there is one?
Yeah, we're in a different place than we were a decade ago. Michigan did not have the funds we have currently with this robust economy to fund the services of government. We were in the grips of the Great Recession. Today, we have the dollars to fund K through 12 education. We have the money to fund the Department of Agriculture, the DEQ, the DNR. We've demonstrated that in the budgets we passed in the House. We passed the budgets out of the Senate. So the framework is there. The question is, how do we sustainably fund our infrastructure in the future? And that's where we're having this robust dialogue. But the dollars there are for today to fund government for the next year. But the question is, how about the infrastructure and road improvement? So that's the question. And I do believe as we go to work tomorrow, we'll get a resolution to that.
If anybody needs to get a hold of Roger Victory, if you have any questions, he is the state senator representing Ottawa County. Again, what's that phone number, Roger?
Again, the phone number is 517-373-6920.
State Senator Roger Victory from Hudsonville, representing Ottawa County in the state Senate. As always, we appreciate you joining us on Talk of the Town. Let's do this again next month if all goes well.
Certainly will, Gary.
All right, that is Roger Victory here on Talk of the Town.